1947 is what the public has been told. Something crashed in the backyard in New Mexico, a place called Roswell, New Mexico. Unfortunately, that's what the public's been told. The military's known about the alien question for the better part of 70 years. The alien agenda is the complete takeover of this planet, the killing off of 5, 6 to 7/8 of the world's population. The U.S. military has known about this for 45 years. They've told no one.
Phil Schneider was a government geologist and structural engineer. In the late 70s, he was working in a black budget project for the United States government. He was involved in the construction of deep underground military bases.
Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. Each one has an average cost of $17 to $19 billion, and now they're capable of building a couple of them a year with sophisticated methods. Area 51 is only one base, one of the 131 bases. Of these 131 bases, I call Area 51 a mega base. It's got more than one base in it. It's Tonopah Test Range, Area 51, S2, S4, Groom Lake, and a host of others. Now, these mega bases are gobbling up our gross national product. Right now we're spending 28% of the gross national product on building underground bases solely. That doesn't count for the defense budget. That doesn't count for the spare parts budget. It doesn't count for any of that at all. And the black budget is dead wrong. It sidesteps the United States Congress and its Constitution of its people and says you're a bunch of morons you don't need to know. Our black budget, for instance, garners $1.023 trillion every 2 years. It's over $500 billion a year.
Some of these bases are more than 4 cubic miles in size and are located miles underground. The government spares no expense, as the average cost can range from $17 to $19 billion. In 1995, there were more than 130 active d.u.m.s in the United States alone, and around 1,500 worldwide. Phil worked on 9 of these facilities at Groom Lake, located in Nevada's most secretive region known as Area 51. In late August of 1979, Schneider was working on a base in Dulce, New Mexico. It was located in the southwestern part of the Archuleta Mesa at Los Alamos Laboratory. The goal was to construct a facility 3 cubic miles in size. During the build, Phil started to notice something was unusual when armed green and black beret soldiers were stationed in his geologist camp. They continued to work excavating the 4 pilot holes for the structure.
We were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. And when you build an underground base, you drill 4 basic holes, and then you build called stopes or cross-member holes across, and then you use blasting equipment, special blasting equipment by the analyzation of the rock formation, and you literally blast out or tunnel out or deflagrate or melt rock out to build the large rooms that are required for this underground base.
After a while, the engineers found that the equipment continued to come up broken. Even stranger, at the completion of one of the holes, vile-smelling black soot billowed from the drill site. Not understanding why the equipment continued to fail, the team decided to send Phil along with a Green Beret soldier down to investigate the problem. As they descended, the smell began to intensify. Upon reaching the bottom, Phil was confronted by a creature approximately 7 feet tall. He struggled to reach inside his protective suit for his pistol. At the time, he was carrying a small .22 caliber Walther PPK with a 9-round magazine. Wasting no time, he fires and kills 2 of the creatures. At this point, a third entity began to wave its hand in front of its chest in a circular motion. A blue beam, similar to lightning, hits Schneider, tearing open his abdomen. An electrical force rips through his body, burning 2 of his fingers off of his left hand, as well as severely burning his left foot, causing him to fall to the ground. As Phil was fading in and out of consciousness, the Green Beret soldier carried him back to the basket and sent him back up to the surface. Unfortunately, the soldier was overwhelmed by the entities and was killed in action. 66 men lost their lives that day. This included Green Beret, Black Beret, and Secret Service agents. The incident set off a chain reaction known as the Dulce Wars. As of 1995, Schneider believed these wars were still being fought by the US, the Russians, and militaries from around the world. Phil warned that the United States government had known about the existence of extraterrestrials for over 70 years.
I'm going to casually mention to you something that's very scary indeed, and tell you what the alien agenda is. The alien agenda is the complete takeover of this planet, the killing off of 5, 6 to 7/8 of the world's population by the year 2029. U.S. military has known about this for 45 years. They've told no one. There are 11 distinct races of aliens. 2 are benevolent. The bad news ones, there are 9 races of alien populations. To look at a human being as a bag of food. They're not cannibals. They don't eat the flesh and the bones and all that kind of stuff. They use the glandular secretions of animals and human beings as a mixture of the vitamins for their food. They get high off of our adrenal gland substances called adrenochrome. It's something like cocaine to them. Alien takeover is a serious threat. Kept totally out of the public view, off the surface. I'm sure the underground bases, without question, are being used as a place to house alien takeover. Alien takeover means the implementation of a one-world government. The New World Order, the alien agenda is one and the same. It's world takeover and the decimation of the population of this planet.
After battling cancer, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, and more than 11 attempts on his life, Phil Schneider was found dead in the bedroom of his Wilsonville, Oregon apartment on January 17, 1996. An autopsy was conducted at the Multnomah County Medical Examiner's Office in Portland, Oregon by Dr. Gunson. She determined Phil had committed suicide by wrapping a rubber catheter hose around his neck 3 times with a half knot. His family and friends knew that couldn't be true, as the shoulder injury and absence of 2 fingers on his left hand would make that unnecessarily difficult. In addition, he had a 9mm handgun along with a host of prescription medications that he could have chosen instead of the catheter. Either of these methods would have been easier and less painful. The evidence he collected was gone, while his money and other valuables were left untouched. Furthermore, no suicide note was found. As a religious man, he had told friends that he would never commit suicide, and if ever found that way, they should assume he had been murdered. The authorities did not investigate the possibility of murder and quickly closed the case. In the last 2 years of his life, Phil had given over 30 lectures across the country and around the world. More and more of what he said in the mid-90s is becoming verified as true today. Phil Schneider displayed extraordinary courage in exposing this information to the public. His legacy will never be forgotten.